Yes, hello everybody. Welcome to the live stream today. We're going to go over how to get in amazing shape, how to lose weight, how to improve your fitness level if you're over the age of 50. But it's really, I think this is a good presentation for just about anyone, but I kind of geared it to people over the age of 40, over the age of 50. And it's kind of interesting. We're going to go over how to set some goals. We're going to go over how to get rid of limiting beliefs, because sometimes if you think you're doing everything right and you just can't stay motivated and you just keep on getting thrown off track, there's a few, I think, simple things you can do that can really help you stay on course. Like, you have to motivate and leverage yourself. So instead of giving specific advice on telling you what to do, we're going to go over like mindset. It's going to be kind of fun. I don't think I've done a live stream like this in a really long time. And it's interesting. I just was in a group chat with another, like, really well-known fitness person, and he had an expert on his on the Zoom call, like going over how to get over limiting beliefs and mindset. So it kind of motivated me to make some slides up. And the interesting thing about this, if you look under, I don't know if you're watching this on YouTube or if you're watching this on Facebook or LinkedIn, on the bottom of the description, I have a link to a PDF that either you can do this a couple different ways. We can do this maybe as a workshop, and you can actually fill out the answers to the questions. We're going to give you like a little bit of like a few like really simple assignments, or you can just print it out, when you have time and go through all these steps. So I think it's going to be a really interesting and fun live stream today. Let's see who's here. I think we got, hey, Jeff is here. Thanks for showing up, Jeff. Hey, Mike. This started on time. Thing is throwing me off. It's funny because Jeff shows up every week. I really appreciate it. Jeff's in my time restricted eating Facebook group. It's like a private group. It's a free group. You can join. You can join that if you like. I have to approve you, but just answer a couple of questions and you get right in. And I typically always have something going on. I don't know. Lately, the technology, everything's been working. Like, typically, I try to go live and I can't get the sound to work. And that's what was happening for a while, and that had changed. I use this sophisticated, I have this really good mic, and I use this sophisticated interface, and I couldn't get the interface to work, but everything's working. I mean, I hit the button, go live, 12 o'clock, and everything works, so I'm really happy about it. Let's see what, hey, retired 2019 to see you. That's great. Thanks for showing up. We got my man Chris. Thanks so much, Chris. Sound and video is great. Oh, thanks, Chris. Alexander. Thanks, Alex. I really appreciate it. Hey, Carol Jean, haven't seen you well. Thanks for showing up, Carol Jean. That's great. Thanks for showing up. Okay, this could be kind of interesting. And like I said, I don't know if you missed the very beginning, because I think you guys have been saying this. Like, I didn't realize maybe ads come up for the first 10, 15 seconds. I have to figure out how to shut that off. I'm sure I can. But there's also, if you want to download this PDF or just pull it up on your screen, if you go to the description in the bottom of YouTube, if you're watching it there on the bottom of, I think it's on Facebook too, I have a link to this PDF. And it's a little bit of a different format, so we can either do this, like I'm saying, like a workshop where you can actually fill out these things as we go, or we can just go through this presentation and you can do it on your own. But it's really cool. It's interesting. You know what course I did many years ago, and I found it like life changing, is I did that Anthony Robbins Personal Power, his first original course. Literally, if my kids are like 22, I must have done it like 23 years ago, and I found it life-changing. I got so much out of it, and every now and then, to this day, I will repeat that course. He was only 23 when he did that course, and it's really incredible. I don't think it's a really challenging thing to do. It's so simple. It explains psychology in a real simple way, but it pretty much takes you through these 30-day progression of like simple things you do. In the beginning, it's so simple. It'll be something like, do one thing today that you've been putting off for a long time, such as, like clean your car, wax your car, like, just clean up your bedroom, organize your desk. That would be day 1. And then it gets like intense. By like day 14, you've restructured and programmed and set goals for your whole life. It's a really great program. So some of those concepts from that Personal Power I'm using here in this presentation, plus this live stream that I was in, the Zoom call I was in yesterday, had a lot to do with these limiting beliefs. And I've done this for myself, and I really do find it helpful. I think anyone would benefit from it. Okay, I'm 60 and love this topic. Oh, that's great. Yeah, I know. I'm turning 61. It's when I posted this like picture of me with my shirt off on Instagram. My wife made me pull it yesterday. because I've been cutting back, and I think I'm starting to get like pretty lean again. Not that I was really not that lean. I think from 12%, I think I'm going to get down maybe to around 10 and really see my abs. But I always take a picture of myself when I'm walking on the path and I go into the bathroom, because how else do I do it? There's a mirror there, but my wife thought I looked too creepy. There's a picture of me like standing in front of the bathroom stalls. I look like some crazy person, so I had to pull it. But I may post a different version of that picture later. Oh, hey, Oatmeal, thanks so much for showing up. Okay, let's go over this. So you probably have heard of this. Maybe you've done like things like this before, but like, what are limiting beliefs? Like, limiting beliefs are pretty much false beliefs that you have in your brain that are just holding you back, stopping you from reaching your goals and desires. They're just messing you up. They're just messing with you. And even though you might know they're not true, they just like hold you back and can really have a negative effect on your life. Let's see what Carol just got to say. My daughter and my daughter-in-law's in-laws bought U.S. tickets to go to New York City for my birthday. Oh my God, my 60th birthday in August 9th, girls trip. Oh, that's going to be good. I can help you out with that, Carol Jean. Just DM me and I'll tell you all the great places to go. My wife, literally, if you're into the theater, my wife goes to the theater once a week, sometimes even twice, and she knows all the ways, like rush tickets, lottery tickets. She knows how to get into all the Broadway shows for like much less money. Like literally, she's also a I forget the name. She's a member of a couple of different organizations and things like that. Can save you a lot of money if you want to go see any Broadway stuff. But I can tell you some good restaurants, all that stuff to go to. My favorite restaurant, but it's crazy expensive, is La Bernardine. If you like seafood, this is mind-blowing. That's Eric, he's been on TV and everything. The best restaurant, I think, in the world. And definitely one of my favorite restaurant in New York City. But it's crazy expensive. But if you want to really splurge one night, go to La Bernardine. You're going to absolutely love it. Okay, so let's go with this. What are limiting beliefs? Like I said, these are the beliefs that are really not true, but you think they're true in your head, and they just kind of like stay in your subconscious and just kind of hold you back. So we're going to go over an exercise on how to get rid of them. Let's see, Jeff. The good news is I only gained 0.4 pounds on my diet break week. Whoa, that's really good. So I basically maintained this week, and I'm taking a workout break, only one tennis class on Thursday, but cutting calories back down. That sounds great. So what Jeff did, and I'm a big believer of this if you guys follow me, every 6 weeks, if you've been in a calorie deficit for 6 weeks, unless it's really mild, I think you should definitely take a diet break and go to maintenance calories for like a week or two. It's good for your metabolism. I think it's great for long-term weight loss. I do it all the time. I know it's a little counterintuitive to eat more when you really want to lose some weight, but it's a great thing to do. The other way to do it is you can just intermittently go in and out of a calorie deficit like every few days. Some people use the term cheat day. You could use that, but it's pretty much doing like 3 or 4 low-calorie days, then doing an up-calorie day or two. It's good for your metabolism. It minimizes the metabolic adaptation. So I really love it. And Jeff just did it, and he only gained a minimal amount of weight. People sometimes freak out when they take a diet break because you pretty much gain a lot of water weight on a diet break. Because if you're in a calorie deficit, your muscles and liver are kind of low with glycogen, those stored carbohydrates. And whenever you store carbohydrates, you hold water. So if you've been eating in a calorie deficit for say 6 weeks, most likely, especially if you're following my style of eating, which is a low to moderate carb type diet, most likely your glycogen levels are on the low side. So if you increase your calories for say a week or two, you fill your muscles up and liver with glycogen, you're going to gain 3-4 pounds of water. The fact that Jeff didn't do that is a great sign. He really must be doing good. So nice job, Jeff. That's great. Okay, so and I want to give you an example. Let's go back to this limiting beliefs. Let me give you an example of one of my biggest limiting beliefs, and it's really been a big factor in my life. I have dyslexia, and not just mild dyslexia. I mean serious dyslexia. Like they wanted to leave me back in elementary school. Luckily, my mother said no way. First, they diagnosed me with reversal, like before they even knew what dyslexia was to some degree. We're talking 50 years ago now, 55 years ago, right? 56 years ago, something like that. And it's always really helped me back. Because to this day, like my middle name is Joseph, and Joseph is a J. I mix J's up. Like B's and D's I mix up. Like, have you ever watched that movie Percy Jackson? Because he was dyslexia, who's the person, like Poseidon's son. It's a great movie, Percy Jackson. He has dyslexia in the movie. And they had this one scene in the movie where a sentence was written, but it was all mixed up. Like if I read or even spelling, I just don't see certain letters. No matter how hard I try, I'll read something 10 times. If you even look at the slides, you'll probably see a typo. But I've been using the ChatGPT now for all my work. The OpenAI thing is helping me so much because it corrects everything. My wife always has to correct my thing, so this has been a big hindrance for me. Plus, when you're a young person and like the teacher, the school says we want to leave this kid back. He can't keep up with the other kids. That gets in your subconscious. I'm 60 and I still think about that they wanted to leave me back in like second grade or third grade or something. It's amazing. And I always felt like, it's so much harder for me. It's harder for me to be successful. It's harder for me to learn things. And so, but this is what you got to do. So whatever they are, okay, this is what I think you guys should do. And this is how you get rid of these limiting beliefs. Write down, how to do this? Write down 5 reasons why each of your limiting beliefs is not great. Right. First, I would do this. I should have put this in the first slide. First, write down what your limiting beliefs are. Go with about 5 of them. Don't overwhelm yourself. For me, number 1 would be dyslexia. I would say for me. I have multiple other limiting beliefs. Like when there's so many, like just injuries that I've had and things like that are like a lot of limiting beliefs. Just making a lot of money is a limiting belief for me because I have a weird association with people who make a lot of money. Maybe I don't think you can make a lot of money and be like a good, nice, honest person. That's somewhat of a limiting belief, for me too. It's kind of like dyslexia. Yeah, no, exactly. I agree. Okay. So this is what I first do. First, write down maybe your top 5 limiting beliefs. And this is what helps get rid of these limiting beliefs. But then you have to prove to your subconscious, prove to your brain that they really are limiting beliefs and not true. So what I would do with my dyslexia example, I would write down 5 things to prove to myself that I am good at learning things, that I have had good success. Like for example, at one point in my life, I had 50 websites. This is when I was doing like affiliate sales. Affiliate sales meaning that if someone would click a link and buy a particular program or product that I recommended, I would get a small commission. And I had a website called Fitness Contrarian where I talked about contrarian topics on fitness. And it was an interesting business back then. This is about 15, maybe longer, maybe 18 years ago. How the internet worked is that they would call it like your main site, and you wanted to drive traffic to that site. So what I did, and this is when it wasn't easy necessarily to have websites. I actually did coding and did all this crazy stuff. I had 50 websites. And what I would do is I would put links and write articles at all these different websites linking back to Fitness Contrarian. And I had a lot of success with that website. I was getting 2,000-3,000 hits a day, and I was selling these affiliate programs, these like workout and fitness type programs that other people wrote. It was really, really good. And just think about it. I mean, someone with dyslexia who's not even good, who mixes numbers up, if I can just like code and write 50 websites, I can learn things. It's such an obvious thing to me, but your subconscious keeps on hitting you. So you have to list things like that. So I'll do that with myself from time to time. I keep on reminding myself that even though I have dyslexia, I still was able to have 50 websites. Even the technology of doing things like this, I'm able to live stream. Other people have harder times. I do a lot of technology stuff, even with my YouTube videos. When I look at the progression of my YouTube videos, like my film quality and my sound quality, I think, is on the higher end of YouTube, even though I don't even have that expensive equipment. So I would recommend you do that. First, acknowledge what these limiting beliefs are. And then once you have one, write down 4 or 5 reasons, specific examples of why it's not true. For sure. Let's see. I think we got a trio. Let's see. I love this topic. I'm over 50. I took a diet break and only gained 1 pound. Oh man, I love that when I hear that. Back on. I want to lose 10 pounds. I love being healthy and learning from you and upping my fiber, of course, walking. That sounds great. I love that. You take those. I know it's one of the hardest things for me to get people to do is to take those diet breaks. And when it comes to the research, it's a little mixed. There's a couple of studies that say no, that definitely works. Like one study I've referenced, and I did a whole presentation on it where I just showed you the study talking about people who were in a calorie deficit for 6 weeks, went into like maintenance calories for 2 weeks, as opposed to people who didn't. And a year down the road, the people who took the diet breaks, metabolisms were a little bit better, and they were able to maintain the weight loss. But there are other studies that show, there really wasn't too much difference. But my personal experience of working with hundreds of, I like really thousands, but people think, how many thousands? But I've been owning a gym for 37 years, and I've been working in health clubs since the age of like 18. And I'm 60. So really, I've dealt with thousands of people, and taking diet breaks is a great thing. Or you can just look at it like cycling calories. You can't always be in a calorie deficit. It's going to wear you down. It's going to slow down your metabolism. You got to go in and out of a calorie deficit. You can do it with diet breaks. You can do it with cycling calories. I think they both work. Okay, back to limiting beliefs. Now, the next thing I'd like you to do is, and I've done this too, is have like an index card. And the first thing I want you to put on an index card, because you have to, these limiting beliefs are deep. They can go back to like childhood. Like I'm talking about when I would keep on remembering that, my mother talking about it, my parents talking about how they want to leave me back in school. My mother didn't want to do it because I already was making friends and all that. Write down on an index card your number one limiting belief, like what you think is just holding you back the most, what's been just like gnawing at you either your whole life. We're over 50 here, we're over 40. Even if you're in your 30s, whatever you think is holding back. It could be that you feel you can't lose weight no matter how you try. Maybe you think you have bad genetics, right? You have a slow metabolism. Maybe both of your parents were overweight. Everyone in your family is overweight. You've been struggling this with your whole life. Maybe that's your limiting belief. Or maybe you're small framed, or maybe you weren't a good athlete in middle school or in high school, and you think you can't do anything athletic your whole life. But then write down specific reasons why that is not true. It really isn't true, these limiting beliefs. You can overcome them. But when it comes to, first do 5 and 5, but then when it comes to the index card, because I want you to keep this index card with you. You can put it on the refrigerator. You can put it in your wallet, your purse. You can keep it in the car when you flip down the sun visor. The one biggest limiting belief, and then give a really good example, like a one-sentence example, why that isn't true. See, you have to just keep on reminding your subconscious that these limiting beliefs are not true. I'm doing that now with success now, because now I keep on talking about it. I'm doing this whole online coaching program. I've had a lot of success with fitness. I think definitely mid-career, but I worked an insane amount of hours. I used to train 45 people a week, and I was doing really well. But you get burnt out by that. Training 45 people a week, you're working 80 hours a week. I did that for 2 decades, literally. And then ever since the pandemic came, I think I'm reinventing my life right now to a large extent, because I'm trying to get my whole business. I would like to transition maybe out of a brick and mortar gym. And ever since the pandemic, I still have my gym, and it's doing okay. But I'd like to get everything online more. So I'm doing a lot of these exercises myself. Let's see what Alexandra has to say. Mike, have you heard about those weight loss drugs, Ozempic? And yes, a lot of people say it's a miracle. Yeah, I heard. Yeah, I've been listening to people talk about them, and I have to say they sound pretty good. They really do work. It's an interesting mechanism. It's not like an amphetamine that necessarily speeds up your metabolism, all that. It really suppresses your appetite. It's unreal. And I hear they really do work with minimal side effects. The only downside of them isn't because I train this wonderful guy. I've been training him for like 20 years. He's the head editor of this magazine that's done really, really well. I don't want to say the name of the magazine because people don't want me to. I think why a lot of these higher profile or really successful people love working with me in my gym, and they stay with me for decades literally, is because I don't mention their name, I don't talk about them, I don't try to get anything from them. I try to give them everything, that I can to help them. So this guy, he's on top of anything, any subject, because his magazine is a curated content magazine, meaning that they look at all other magazines and all other news outlets, and then they'll write an article, giving them credit. But so pretty much he knows about everything, every topic. And I trained him for an hour a couple weeks ago, and we really talked about this. And he said, man, it really works. And he was saying, it just chemically in your brain, it's almost not really like a mood stabilizer or like an antidepressant, but it's a similar mechanism in that it makes you less hungry. And people are just eating less. It really does work. But as soon as you stop taking the medicine, you gain the weight back because your appetite comes back. So that's kind of, and it's not inexpensive. There were some cheaper forms now, but I think the Ozempic, I think it's like $1,000 a month. And unless you can somehow prove through your doctor that you have some type of serious health condition that's making you gain weight, it's really expensive. And so we'll see. But it's interesting. I'm not against these type of things, truthfully. Especially if you're in a life-threatening situation and you really got to lose the weight. I mean, you're diabetic and you got so many different things going on, and you've tried everything. I don't think it's so bad, But it's still relatively new. Like you're saying, you never know. Who knows 10 years down the road. I remember Fen. I've had clients down here, this is 15, 20 years ago, to take that, and that was a bad thing, right? Heart issues, people were dropping dead, so you never know, but it seems like it works, Alexandra. Not that you should take it, but it seems like it works. Well, let's see. Just here to say hi, have a great day. Oh, thanks for showing up. Surye, so I hope I pronounced that right, Surye. Thanks for showing up, I appreciate it. I think you followed me on Instagram or something, which is nice. Okay, so let's go to, so we got the limiting beliefs, right? Do this thing. I know sometimes this thing's kind of corny, but I'm telling you, this stuff really, really works. You can even just start with one limiting belief. Give yourself 5 examples why. Put it on an index card. One belief, one example. See how you feel in a couple weeks. I mean, I think this really is something to this stuff. Alexandra lives in Montreal. It's $250 a month Canadian dollars, which is a little more than US. I know, not so bad, Alexandra, And I know, I guess it's a little more. I think Canada has a great healthcare system. Everyone's got coverage, all that type of thing, right? I don't know. If you want to, let me look into a little more. I'm going to see this guy again on Friday. I'll do a little research this week. We'll talk about it next week a little bit more. I can even do a whole live stream on it. Well, it's pretty good. 250 is not so bad, actually. Okay, so let's go on to phase 2. So we got the limiting beliefs. We could spend hours talking about these limiting beliefs, but start there. Just get 5 down. Let's see what. Okay. What's your opinion on pre-workout supplements? Some of these contain 250 to 300 milligrams of caffeine. It's interesting because I know caffeine is an ergonomic aid and it really does work. It picks people up. It used to be illegal in like the 70s. They call it caffeine doping, because when you take caffeine into your system, you will burn a greater percentage of fat calories as opposed to carbohydrates. So if you're running like a marathon, it's an advantage, because you use fat as a fuel more than carbohydrates. But they got rid of that. I think back then it was anything over 200 milligrams, like in the 70s. I don't like a stim in my pre-workout. I just don't like it. I drink my 2 cups of coffee in the morning. Plus every now and then I'll get a blip. Like my heart will skip if I drink too much coffee. Like if I drink 3, 4, 5 cups of coffee, which I have years past, my heart will skip from too much caffeine. So I'm a little caffeine sensitive. Plus, it's somewhat of a diuretic a little bit, so I don't want it. Same as creatine. I don't want creatine or caffeine as a pre-workout. I make my own pre-workout, and I've talked about it before. I want something that's going to increase nitric oxide. It's hard to find them without the stim in it. So I'll do beetroot powder, which is high in nitrates, which convert to nitric oxide, which gives you a great pump, great for blood flow. There's always some type of nitric oxide enhancer in these pre-workout drinks. And then the other thing I put in is L-citrulline, because L-citrulline is a non-essential amino acid. It's another thing you'll see in those pre-workout drinks, that it's a non-essential amino acid, but it uses a different mechanism to increase nitric oxide. L-citrulline helps the body make arginine, that hormone, which in turn help the body make nitric oxide. You could take arginine, which is less expensive, but the body doesn't absorb it as well. So, and there's all different ones. I just don't want the caffeine. So I do like pre-workout supplements. I have clients that take them. I have friends that take them. They want the caffeine. I get some clients that literally show up to my gym wired because they just took like a double serving of a pre-workout. They just took in 600 milligrams of caffeine and they're ready to jump out of their shorts. I mean, I don't like that, but I don't necessarily think it's bad. But I like to make my own. I like beetroot powder, L-citrulline, and there's other ones now too. I think there's even now a red spinach extract, which is really high in nitrate with no oxalates. The negative thing about the beetroot powder, there are oxalates in beetroot powder. So if you're predisposed to kidney stones, like if your family had kidney stones, you may want to be a little careful with oxalates. That's why I stopped doing smoothies. I even cut back on my celery juice that I was drinking a lot of. I read this book, Toxic Superfoods, about a month ago. I think first name Nancy, I can't think of her last name. It was a good book. It made me a little concerned about oxalates though, so I've been cutting back. I was eating a very high oxalate diet because I was doing celery juice, which is high in oxalate. I was rotating arugula and spinach salads back and forth. Spinach is super high in oxalates. I was eating almonds, which are high in oxalates. I eat dark chocolate every day, still do, love it. 88% dark chocolate, high in oxalates. So I took a step back from the oxalates, but that was a good question. Okay, so let's get over now. Let's go to how to leverage yourself, and this is kind of out of the Tony Robbins, that course I took years ago, and I keep on going over it from time to time. I may reorder it again because I have it in like CD form, but I still have the booklet from when I initially went through it. And he talks about leveraging yourself, and when he was leveraging him talking about this, I related it to like the people on The Biggest Loser. Because The Biggest Loser, just think about it. If you go on The Biggest Loser show, and I hate the name, it's a double meaning, you're overweight, you lose it, really horrible, it's like degrading. I couldn't even watch the show. I just would put it on every now and then for 2 minutes just to, it was so crazy. Overtraining, too low in calories, that's why with the diet breaks. And just think, but what I mean by leveraging is I just think if you're on that show and millions of people are watching you, you're leveraged. Just think at the motivation. Imagine like you don't want to be humiliated, by millions of people. Like you go on the show, you didn't lose weight, so you're like, you're so leveraged to do well. But you can create that type of leverage in a positive way within your own life to stick to your exercise and weight loss routine. Let's see, Alexandra. Oh, hey, Alexandra gave me a super chat. She's so nice. Does this every single week. Keeps the channel going, which I really appreciate. Okay, Mike, please, do you make a whole live on this on these drugs? If it does work, it could solve my lifelong battle with yo-yo diets. Okay, I definitely will. I definitely will. If not next week, I may be able to do it next week. If not next week, within the next couple of weeks, I'll do it. I really should do it. You know what? I even think Peter Attia, who I follow all that stuff, I think he did, and I'm a member of his website. Peter, he's the Harvard doctor, longevity Harvard doctor, and he has a podcast called The Drive, but you could also be a member and then you have more access. Besides just listening to the podcast, I get access to all the studies, and I know he did something on this. So I will look at all his stuff and then we'll do it. It'll be a good live stream. I definitely will. Thanks, Alexander. And that sounds great. It'll be a fun one to do, for sure. I remember, I can tell you all the crazy bodybuilding things we used to do. We used to take like Sudafed with don't do this, Alexander. We would take Sudafed with a baby aspirin. That was a big thing to do, like in the 80s and the 90s, almost like an amphetamine type thing. Because clenbuterol was another one of these things that help you, these fat burning type things that they took off the market. So they went with like these ephedrine type, like what's a nasal spray with a baby aspirin for some reason. I didn't even know what the science was, why it works so well, but people are doing all crazy things. Even hydroxycut. I had clients and friends taking all that stuff. I never really took those fat burners. There might be a little something to it. Chromium pike. I forget that's it. I can't think of it. There's another thing that people take. Something chromium picolinate. Is that what it's called? I'm not even sure. I don't want to say because I'm not sure. Okay, so let's get back to this. So let's go over how you can leverage yourself and really get yourself motivated and sticking to these like weight loss, health, and fitness goals. And I know when you're older, it's even more difficult because everything is so, all these other habits are so ingrained in your body and in your lifestyle. So you really got to take the time and get it through to your brain, just like those limiting beliefs, that you really have to, lose weight if you're overweight, improve your fitness level, improve your level of fitness. You're going to be around for another 30, 40 years, hopefully, right? If you're 50, 60, 70, 80, 50, 40 years, 35, 40 years, hopefully. So that's what I like you to do. You have to convince yourself that something must change. You must change it, and you can change it. And this is like an Anthony Robbins thing on how to do it. Write down 5 reasons why you want to get in shape and lose weight, and you really have to feel them. First, you have to, like, your brain has to know, like, why you're doing it. You're not just doing it because everyone's telling you to do it. Write down the reasons why. Maybe like your reason, like you're 50 years old or whatever. Maybe you're 60 years old and your kids just had a grandchild, just had a child, and one of your main reasons why you want to get in shape is that you want to be able to like babysit for this baby. You want to be able to like kick a soccer ball around with them when they're 10 years old and you're 70. Whatever it might be, but get these reasons down. Or maybe a reason B is you don't want to take blood pressure medication. You don't want to go on the statins like everyone's taking these cholesterol medications. Whatever your reasons are. Maybe you just want to look good at the beach in bathing suit. Maybe you want to look good at your daughter's wedding or bar mitzvah or your son's bar mitzvah. I mean, whatever they might be. But write down 5 reasons why you want to lose weight and get in shape, and you have to like really feel them. Maybe you just want to live. You want to have a nice, mobile, healthy, fit life. When you're in your 80s, like you don't want to be in a wheelchair. Like they say, there's no overweight people in these nursing homes, right, or these retirement facilities because they didn't live that long. It's really, it's so true, right? And this is the key. This is a hard one to do, I think, too. This is almost more important than the reasons why you want to be like healthy and fit. Is write down 5 reasons how your life will be in 10 years. It can even be 5 years if you don't get in shape and lose the weight. If you don't really improve your fitness, like what's gonna happen? Right now you're 50, right? Imagine starting at in 10 years how much harder it's gonna be. The day to start is now. So write down those reasons. Like if you don't start turning things around now, your grandchild is gonna be 10 years old, and you're gonna be sitting in a bridge chair. And you're not gonna be able to move around, right? You're not gonna be able to do all these things that you want to do in your life. Say you love to travel. Like I said, I keep on telling you, I was in Italy twice this year. You know how much, when you go to Italy, Lake Como, I'm hustling down hills. You want to travel the world. You want to be able to move around in these cities, in these countries. You want to be able to enjoy yourself, right? Maybe you want to be able to go skiing when you're 70 years old. Go out west, go to Vail, Aspen or something. Write these things down that in 10 years from now, if you don't turn things around now, where are you going to be? And this is real stuff. I mean, this is going to motivate you. This is going to leverage you. Just like the Biggest Loser people are leveraged with, they didn't want to be humiliated in front of millions of people. You can do this for yourself. I even have one client, she was great. I love her. She's incredible. I've been training her for years. Initially, she finally turned things around about 5-6 years ago, but I literally trained her for 15 years. And what we realized is that the only time she ever could lose weight, and she would disagree with me, if you want to do a video on me, that was great. The only time she could ever lose weight is when she had an event coming up. Like, for example, when her daughter was getting married, or when her son was being bar mitzvahed. And this was a pattern she had. And I discussed it with her. She didn't want to hear about it, but it turned out to be true. In my opinion. Like, for example, she would always, like her daughter's getting married in 6 months, she would lose 35 pounds. She finally would not miss the workouts. She finally would eat good. She finally wouldn't drink. She just totally turned things around. She was so motivated and so leveraged. Like, it was so important to her to look good and everything go well at this wedding that she did everything right. But literally, the day of the wedding, she would go off her diet, enjoy the wedding, and that was it. And then over the next 6 months to a year, she gained all the weight back. And this happened. She had 4 kids. I'm telling you, this happened like 4 times. It was unreal. It was such a pattern. And then about 5 years ago, she just decided no more. And she decided she's just gonna, always. And we did a couple of interesting things with her. She would always have we would always have event goals for her, because that's what she needed. Like, she would be having like a big dinner party in 3 months. So we would say, okay, this is your goal now. You want to look good for this dinner party. You have a particular outfit you want to get. They're very wealthy. She had personal shoppers and all this. And we did that for a while, and that really, really helped. And then she just fell into a pattern, and it really worked. So do this, whatever it might be. I find with men, it could be a lot of health issues. Like a man will go to the doctor at 50, and the doctor will have a heart-to-heart talk with them. It just happened to someone in my wife's family who said, you are 50 pounds overweight. Your numbers are not good. I want to put you on a statin. I want to put you on high blood pressure. You're pre-diabetic. Your A1C is like borderline high. You're not going to be around in 15 years. And the doctor really emphasized how difficult it can be to have diabetes and know what that means. So I have to say, he really turned things around for himself. It kind of really stuck in. That was his leverage for him. He didn't want to not be around in 10 years. So, I mean, do these things. They seem a little silly, seem a little corny, but I would definitely do them. And this is what I'd like you to put on the index card. Add to that initial index card with your limiting belief, your number one reason why you want to get in shape, and what will happen to you 10 years from now if you don't. I know it's a little bit of fear, like it's a little bit of a fear factor here, but do that. It'll be like in your head. So you got your limiting belief, your biggest limiting belief, right? The main example of that limiting belief of why it's not true, right? Then why you want to get in shape. Your number one reason, like say you want to be able to travel the world in your 70s. You know, you always wanted to go do a trip around the world, and you want to be biking in Tuscany, right? You want to be hiking, you know, through the Canadian Rockies, right? You want to do all these things, you know, when you're in your 70s, and that's your leverage. It's going to leverage yourself. Okay, so there we go with that. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. Any questions, guys? Let me know. I don't know how well, and I think people are fading on this live stream because maybe this stuff is a little kind of corny, but I think it's pretty good. I'm enjoying doing this live stream. I'm just checking. I think some comments came into on my phone, but it's not showing up. Okay, let's go over goal setting. And I got this goal setting thing. Oh, what's the name of the guy's book? I just had it. It's kind of like one of those like how to win friends and influence people. Let me pull it up because I absolutely it'll come to me. He's one of these famous motivational speaker guys. Okay, like goal setting is so important. Okay, setting goals can help us move forward in life. Goals give us roadmaps to follow, and working to achieve them helps us define what we truly want in life. Write down your top 3 goals for 1 year, 3 months, and weekly goals. I'll break that down a little bit more. We got a question here. Okay, I have heard a lot about CoQ10. I'm diabetic and high blood pressure. Is this a good supplement to take, or is it just a waste of money? I know it's a little bit cubiquinol. I was taking that for a while. Good for heart health, things like that. I think there's a little something to it. It's expensive. The issue with it is whether you absorb it or not. You know, that's a big one. I think Curamed is probably my favorite brand of it. My brother was turning me on to that because he takes the CoQ10, you know, cubiquinol, and they have supposedly a proprietary process in which you really do absorb it. If it's not Curamed, I'm not. I'll find that and let you know. You know, I can't say that I'm an expert about it. I know it's one of those core supplements that people love. I know Dr. Stephen Gundry likes CoQ10. A lot of these holistic doctors, he's not a holistic doctor, but he leans towards that. I read all his books, The Plant Paradox and Longevity Paradox. He takes a ton of supplements. He really likes it. I can't say that I'm a real expert on it, but I have taken it. I had no adverse effects. Those type of things are so hard to tell. Are they really doing anything, you know? It's hard to say, but it's one of those core ones that people do love. Let's see, Alexandra. I understand that high cholesterol is 80% genetic, so maybe sometimes a healthy diet is not enough and a statin is needed. Possibly. I don't know about 80% though, Alexandra. You know, it's interesting because, you know, I follow Peter T, and he looks at cholesterol and the numbers to be completely different. He thinks the APO, I think that ApoB is the most important number. He thinks if you're little a, you know, that's a genetic thing. You know, little a, back to The Biggest Loser. You know, that guy, I think one of the head trainers on that show, he had a heart attack. Even though he's in good shape, he was genetically little a, which makes you more predisposed to have blockages. So some doctors feel if you're little a, even if your numbers are good, still take a statin. No, it was really complicated. How I looked at it is that I want my triglycerides to be low, and I want my HDL, the high density lipoproteins, to be high. That's the ratio I personally always looked at, and mine are really good. But it's a very complex. Some people think, you know, it really doesn't have too much to do with the chance of longevity and fatal and dying from having maybe higher cholesterol. But it's hard. I mean, once again, Peter T has so much good information on that. I wonder in Canada if they use that ApoB to look at your coronary risk. I know in Europe they do, and he feels that's going to be the biggest indicator going down the road. So you know, we'll see. Interesting. Retired 2019. Besides going to the doctor, what is the best place for getting a complete blood work analysis? Interesting. I was on another private Zoom call, and there's a guy, I don't have his name here, but I will link it underneath this, so I'll talk about it next time if you want. He does expanded blood work that's pretty reasonable. I think it's under $600. He likes to do it with you every 6 months. and it breaks pretty much everything down for you. But I have had clients go to holistic doctors, and it's crazy expensive. It was like $2,300. That's the number that comes up, and they test you for everything, every possible hormone, everything. But this other blood thing for under 600, I thought was pretty reasonable. I think his wife, he's very big. This guy's very. I wish I could think of his name. I just was in this live stream 2 weeks ago. Let me see. Maybe I did write his name down because I have some notes from that. It wasn't. Oh, the guy I'm talking about yesterday was Gavin McCall, the guy from the Beliefs. But let me see, because I took notes. I think his name was Doug Grant, Grant. Doug Grant. You can look at him. You can Google him, Doug Grant. And he has a company that offers like an expanded blood profile type thing that you can do through him. And he works with a lot of bodybuilders, professional, amateur athletes, physique athletes, and endurance athletes. He's a really sharp guy. He's like my age. He's been doing it forever. I think his wife competes in the Miss Olympia, and I was gonna do it. I'm a little bit, me personally, I'm a little neurotic when it comes to things like that, though, in that I don't want to overanalyze. Like I like to go to, I get my physical, get my blood work. Everything's looks good. Okay, great. I'm good for another year. Maybe you catch something early with blood work like this, or maybe you want to opt. You see, the other thing is everything has a little bit of a catch. I think this guy Doug Grant also tries to give you supplements that's suitable to your blood work. Like let's say your potassium is low, he would he'd give you a supplement there. So he tries to supplement yourself based on your blood work, which is a good thing to do, for sure. I know Andrew Huberman too. That's my other favorite podcast, past Huberman Labs, the professor from Stanford. He always has, in the beginning of his podcast, he does something like that too. He'll list like maybe sponsors to the show because it's a free podcast. And he always talks about a company that you can, you send them a blood sample, whether you go to the lab and do it, or I think you can even just pinch yourself. And he talks about, supplementing your diet with supplements, your diet and with blood work. You can do blood work, and then they'll give you specific supplements, especially when it comes to nootropic type things for brain health and things like that. So I'll look at list at the beginning of his podcast. And I'll try to do that too. That would be a fun live stream to do as well, like what to look for in your blood work too. So maybe we'll do something like that as well. Let's see. Thanks, Mike. My first name is Herb. Okay, Herb. That's cool. I like that name, Herb. That's great. Thanks, Herb. I gotta remember that. Let me write that down so I don't forget. I'm so bad with remembering things. It took me a long time because I know for like a year I didn't know Jeff's name and all that. So let's see, Chris. The best diabetic supplement I used to take is trizeptide injections called Mojaro. Wow, I'm not even familiar with that, Chris. Okay, I'm curious. Cause I wonder, did you ever do any of that expanded blood work from any of these guys? Cause I know you follow all these guys. This guy Doug Grant or anyone like that. If you do, let me know. I'd be curious to know. Okay. You always say that to even see. I'm not a big believer of even wearing those the rings at night, the Oura rings, and that measures your. Did I get a good REM night's sleep? Did I not? I wake up in the morning. I felt like I slept good. I look. I don't even know how accurate those rings are. Heart rate variability, I think, is a good indicator of whether you're overtraining or overstressed. Heart rate variability means that when your heart beats, it's not supposed to necessarily be rhythmic, meaning like like say you're getting 60 beats per minute with your heart rate, like every second your heart beats one beat. It's supposed to be a little bit random, like 1 second, 3/4 of a second, half a second, 1 second. It's supposed to be there's supposed to be some heart rate variability. That means that you're not under a lot of stress or you're not overtraining. A lot of athletes like to monitor their heart rate variability to see if they're overtraining, if they're doing too much. I've had clients, wear the Fitbits, wear the rings at night. I know my brother wears his Apple Watch. It does EKGs. I mean, I'm a little too. You have to know your personality. Like if something's going to upset you when it really isn't a serious issue, if you felt like you slept. And you wake up in the morning and you feel refreshed and amazing. You think you had a good night's sleep, didn't wake up. Maybe you woke up once to go to the bathroom once, right? If you're an older guy like me, you go right back to sleep. But then your ring tells you, oh my God, I didn't get enough REM sleep. It's going to stress you out. It depends. You have to know your personality. I don't like to necessarily overanalyze myself. I'm such a big believer in how you feel, how you look. How you look meaning not necessarily vanity. Like, do you look like you're healthy? You know what I mean? Just like a general appearance of health. I mean, are you slunched over, exhausted, like dragging all day long? What I mean by looks. Are you walking, in a vibrant manner? Do you carry yourself with vibrance no matter what age you are? That's what I mean by like how you look. Do you feel good? Right? I mean, do you have energy during the day? No matter what these indicators are telling you. The blood work is still a great thing to do, obviously, and getting your colonoscopy when you're a certain age and doing all these things, yes. Get your physical every year and all that, but I don't like to take it beyond, like, to look for something that's going to upset me that really doesn't mean anything, But it is a good idea to take blood work if you want to, complement your blood work with certain supplements, for sure. This is Chris. Yes, I did my blood work through a functional doctor out in Florida. They did a deep dive into your blood. You do the lab in your area, then you do a FaceTime doctor. It's probably a great thing to do, Chris. So you got something out of it, I guess. Did you adjust anything to it? I can share the info with you. I'm like, I'm curious. I would love to see it. That sounds good. Yeah, email me whenever you get a chance. I'm curious to see. I'm curious to know also too. Did they adjust your supplements with it, or they just wanted to look at that? So that'd be interesting. Okay, so let's go back to goal setting. So this is what I like you to do. I like you to have like yearly goals. Just write down and don't overdo this. Like, don't put down too many goals because it's gonna over stress you out. I like to have like 3 yearly goals. Like at the end of the year, where do you want to be? Say you want to be 20 pounds lighter by the end of the year. Say something like that. Let's say you want your resting heart rate, which is a great indicator of your aerobic fitness. Say maybe your resting heart rate now is 80. You want it to be 72 by the end of the year. Like things like that, like some specific goals. Or it could be, you want to fit into. You want a 32 waist. You want your belt to be 32. By the end of the year, like things like that. If you have 38, you want to be a 32, something like that. Write down 3 health and fitness goals. A goal could be like someone like Chris. You want to be off diabetic medication, right? In a year from now, you're really going to dig in and just improve your health to a really big extent. And then just keep those in your head. You can maybe write them down. We're going to put something else in the index card, though. You're going to write them down, have them. Then you want to just break it down a little bit further. I like 3-month goals, too. 3-month goals are great. They're a little bit more focused. Don't put too many down. It could be just a smaller version of the 1-year goals. Like at the end of this quarter, you may want to be 10 pounds lighter or whatever it might be. It could be things like, if you're doing 16-8, you can say, by the end of these 3 months, I want to make sure that I only ate with an 8-hour eating window. Or it could be like, I want to make sure that I'm taking in 125 grams of protein a day for the next 3 months. And then I'm going to reevaluate. Let's see. This is Herb. My waist was 38 down to 35. Well, my goal is 33 by my mid-birthday in November. Love that. Love that, Herb. You're on track. I love it. That's exactly what you want to do. Write it down. I mean, put it on paper. It really helps. And then you want to do the same thing. I think I get there's a 2-part slide. Then you want to do the same thing for your 1 month, and make the 1 month goals really obtainable. Like don't stretch yourself out with these goals. The whole thing is you just want momentum. You want a little bit of a plan. You want to adjust if things are not working right. And I almost think this is the most important one, is these daily goals. Let's see, Chris. Yes, they adjusted your supplements such as testosterone, estrogen. Example, they also did peptide treatment. Interesting. The best way not to be a diabetic is nutrition, whole food diet. That's cool, Chris. So I don't know, are you doing testosterone or estrogen, anything like that beyond just like you supplements? Are you actually taking testosterone? You don't have to ask me now. You can just you can text me. And when it comes to the peptides, are you taking any peptides? I'd be curious to know about that too. And people don't know, peptides could just be like a human growth hormone-ish type thing. Peptides can be defined in multiple different ways, in my opinion, it seems. And I'm not really an expert on that either. But once again, I was like, there's so many podcasts where the guy's talking about these peptides now, and human growth hormone, and testosterone, and estrogen, and all these different things. Hormone replacement, all things like that. It seems to be pretty big in Florida. I guess the rules and the regulations in Florida are a little bit more lax for things like that, as opposed to like New York or California. I think it's a little bit more difficult. I know I had clients literally go out almost, just across the borderline in Florida to get to like Cuba, or something, so they can do a procedure and then come back. I mean, I know people do pretty extreme things. Hey, Crystal Brinkley, thanks for showing up. How we doing? Thanks. Okay, let's see what Herb's got to say. I'm currently doing a personal 90-day 1 million step challenge by Labor Day. Oh, Herb, you are doing so good. I love that. This is all the exact stuff I'm talking about. Put it on paper. Make these little, goals along the way. I almost think the daily goals is the best one to create momentum. Constant positive reinforcement. Make a daily health and fitness goal list. I mean, I love doing that. I generally like to do that the night before. You can do it the night before, like I said. Or you can do it in the morning. I find doing it the night before is better, because sometimes you wake up in the morning, you got a headache, you don't feel good. Who knows? Maybe you didn't sleep. But if you do it the night before, I'd say whatever's on that piece of paper, I generally do this on my phone. I use notes. I used to write it out, but lately I've been just using notes. Good, you can save some paper, whatever. But I still have my notepad here. I mean, I'm still old school. I still do notepads as well too. But I like to make my next daily goals on in notes. And what you want are those like little easy obtainable dopamine hits. Like dopamine is that neurotransmitter that's going to make you feel good. And by achieving these small little goals, it really keeps you on track. And I used to make the mistake of writing down too many things, like 20 goals. You want to keep them small. That's why I've talked about this story before. The admiral who talks about why people in the military make their beds every morning. And it's not necessarily that they want clean barracks. It's that they want task completion first thing in the morning. They want to wake up, get something positive, like achieve something instantly. You wake up, the first thing you do, you make your bed. You get a nice neat bed. So you already started the momentum. And that's what these little dope. So that particular person in the military got a dopamine hit. As soon as they woke up, they make their bed. They look at the bed and say, "Oh, that looks nice." And they say, "I feel good." It just happens. So this should be easy thing. One thing is, like, whenever you brush your teeth, you floss. That's one of the things that I do now. Every time I brush my teeth, I floss. I just achieved a task for the day. I'm improving my hygiene, which is linked to, like, less condition of heart disease. I mean, you live longer if you have good gums and good teeth. I mean, there's no question about it. There's a definite link there. So don't go crazy with these things. So it could be with me. It could be I'll write down the night before. I know my schedule. Like, I know the clients I have. I'm saying I'm going to wake up. I'm going to drink a glass of water with lemon. I'm going to go take my 45-minute walk. That could be the first thing on my health and fitness goal list for the day. Then I write down I'm doing Monday is my upper body day. I'm going to train my upper body on Monday, resistance training. I know my schedule on Monday. I may not have time to go to the park again. I'm going to take a 30-minute walk right after dinner. And I'll just write those 4 things down. And you'd be surprised when you do them, then you cross them off. I love erasing my achieved goals, my daily achieved goals, off my notebook. I love doing it. It makes me feel good every time. I feel bad if one's still there the next day, which is, I love it. Let's see, this is Alexandra. I think I have a bit of a OCD many times. OCD stands for obsessive compulsive disorder, people don't know. Many times I break my diet midweek and I can only start it again until the next Monday. It's a big problem. Yeah, Alex, I definitely have OCD. I don't have a bad case of it, but I do weird things too. Like, I definitely do. There's no question about it. Like, I'll do something like, I do this all the time. Like, I like my gym. I leave and I say, did I like my gym? And I pull right back. I'll do that twice sometimes. It's weird. Like, I just checked. I got to check it again. Maybe I messed that up. That's like an OCD, obsessive compulsive. I definitely have that. This could be, you may not have it, like I say, and that could be a limiting belief to some degree. They may not have it as bad as you think you have it. But if you know there's a pattern, if you have any type of recognizable pattern, I would write it down and then you can beat it now. Because you know that you do this. If you know that you break your diet, and like on a Wednesday and say, I broke my diet. I think that is a really common issue with people on diets, that if they just mess up with one meal, they say, I just messed up. I'll start on Monday. Let me just eat whatever I want again for the rest of the week. I already messed up. Now that you know that's the case, you can use that as a limiting belief. You feel that if you have one bad day, you're going to eat bad for the next 3-4 days. You know what it is. Write it down. You know how to correct it. And then give examples to yourself of when you didn't do that and why it worked. It's just a pattern. And once you recognize the pattern, that's like you're 90% there, because now you can break it. Do whatever you have to do. to break it. You can fix that, Alexandria, no doubt about it. I think that's. I mean, I don't know if it was a study. It was, I've read so many of these fitness and diet books, and there was one particular book that was really, really big on that, and they felt that that's the biggest reason why most people can't sustain weight loss is because they just, once they have one bad day or just one bad meal, similar to my client was talking about, she goes to the wedding, she eats whatever she wants for that wedding, and then she's done. Then she's going to eat bad for 6 months. In your case, Alexander, you're only doing it until Monday, so that's not as bad. Some people do that and they will go months. Gain 25 pounds back from just having one bad day. So now you know what it is. You can fix it. No question about it. Here's Chris. Are you still eating strawberries? I don't see any. And, interesting, back to that oxalates, strawberries are really high in oxalates. It's interesting. So ever since I read that book, I've been coming back on oxalates. Strawberries, that was one thing I eliminated. Like I said, the celery juice, the spinach. Blackberries, too. Really high in oxalates. Blueberries are really low. And you know what I've been eating lately? Cherries. I have to look. I think cherries are low, but I just see what my meals. I have cherries. Cherries have been incredible. Oh my God, lately. I've never had cherries this good. And I find cherries are such a small season that they're on sale now, and they're so good. They were a little big. I wonder if they're modified or something. It didn't say it on the package, but they're so big. They're really not like plums, but they're crazy big. I've been eating a lot of cherries lately. Not a lot, but like half a cup of cherries with lunch. But that's interesting that you picked up on that, Chris. Yeah, that's why I stopped the strawberries. I'll still do it now and then, but I don't know if we are in strawberry season yet, or maybe it's coming. I think it's towards the end of the summer in New York. Let's see, Herb. Mike, what are your thoughts on weight training versus body weight training? I think they're both equally as good. Whether you're doing, whether you're lifting weights or doing calisthenics, as long as you're closing down the muscle, meaning that you're getting that, you're pumping the muscle up, you're getting a little bit of a burn. Whether you're doing body weight lunges or holding dumbbells, it's all about intensity. I don't think you should go to failure. Always keep a few reps in reserve. As long as you're working reasonably hard, whether you're doing calisthenics, body weight exercises, or weights, or even yoga, Pilates, all that stuff, there's a definite resistance training component to it. When I say, that's why sometimes I like to use the term resistance training, because it encompasses everything. It could be weight training, it could be calisthenics. You hold a plank at Pilates, you're creating a great stimulus to the midsection, to the whole anterior part of the body, the whole core. So I think it's all good. Nothing I don't like. I think they're both equally as good. Okay, and that's what I mean. So I think these daily goal lists, and that's it. But when it comes to your index card, I would put the limiting beliefs, your biggest limiting belief, right? The main example of why it's not true. Then when it comes to the, leveraging yourself, like I said, let me go back to that because I don't want to get this wrong. When it comes, add to your card the number one reason you want to get in shape or lose weight, and what will happen 10 years from now if you don't. So it could be like I said, the main reason you want to be able to travel the world when you're in your 70s. You want to be retired. You want to go to Italy, you want to go to France, you want to go to Canadian Rockies, and you want to be able to enjoy these trips, not be in a wheelchair, being pushed around, right? And then the third thing you put on the card is put your 3-month goal, because you're going to change that every 3 months. So you want to be put a date on it. You don't want to put the daily things on the index card, because that's more like on your phone or in notes. The daily things, you just want to keep them simple and quick and keep on cranking them up. And that's it. I think this can really help. I don't know if people, I know all my regular people here, which I really appreciate it. I don't know if this type of stuff, it's hard to get people to do these things. And some people think they're corny. I actually think it's corny until I did that personal power. There must have been something going on in my life when I did it. Maybe the stress of having kids. I knew we were going to have kids. Maybe I was getting stressed out back then. I said, let me do this personal power thing. But I remember doing it. And it was really life-changing for me. I recommend it to everyone. You can probably get it so cheap now because it's been around for so long. I think it's so relevant still. And I know he has personal power too. I got that one. I didn't like that one as much because it was a much abbreviated. It was a much shorter version of personal power. I remember him saying that most people don't want to do 30 days. They want it in a week, And I've been doing my 30 days to optimal health, if you notice. I think I'm on day 10. I still got to edit some more. I'm going to do 30 days. That's a good program to follow, too, if you want to follow that 30-day optimal health. I'm probably going to release it for free in you can go on my YouTube channel, and you can see it in a playlist. You can watch them all in a row. On Instagram, obviously you can't do that. They're all over the place. But I'm probably going to have something where you give me your email, and I'll give you access. I'll probably put it in one of my other platforms like Thinkific, like my courses in, so you can watch these free videos like a course, like one after another with some notes, it'll be really good. It's kind of like this, kind of like those individual days. Nothing's that hard, but every day you do something else just to improve your health and all that. Okay, so let's go into now, let's see, Herb. I retired obese at 57. Having short-term and long-term goals is very important. Also, I'm learning to have patience. That's great. That's great, Herb. I absolutely love it. I agree with it 100%, totally. At 57, he's still so young. I mean, younger than me, right? Okay, let's go. That's interesting. I did this. I don't know what is going on, though. Whenever I pull my meals, remember last time and the last 2 times, they seem to disappear. So I must be doing something incorrect, but I have them. It's just going to take me a second once again to pull them in. Let me see. Let me go to my downloads. I'll pull the one with the cherries first. I just did a few. I just made videos of these. I gotta figure why that's the case, why it's not working. And there you go, Chris. See, I've been having my cherries. It's interesting because I've been doing a lot. I did kind of maybe a little bit of an extreme video that I just released on Instagram. Kind of like how to lose up to 10 pounds in 2 weeks. It's doing really well. But people get on my case, say, why are you telling people to lose so much weight in 2 weeks? It's going to be a lot of water weight, which is true. The video was how to quickly lose weight, where you pretty much only eat 2 meals a day, and you only eat 50 grams of carbs. So you're going to lose you're going to lose 4 or 5 pounds of water weight just from eating. Like, you're probably going to be in ketosis in a few days. And then the third thing was make sure you're eating an adequate amount of protein. So it's a high protein, low carb, only 2 meals a day. This is without counting calories, so you're going to be in a aggressive calorie deficit. Someone who maybe doesn't know me is kind of new to me, and people ask me, Mike, what are these like low-calorie meals? I want to give an example, and this is my style of eating. You guys know this. I got my sardines, smoked salmon. That's probably 50 grams of protein right there, plus the high in those omega-3s, those essential fatty acids, which is so good for your brain health, for inflammation, all that type of stuff. Eat an avocado every day. That's about 300 calories there. 15 grams of fiber, and cherries are in season. There are those cherries. They're so good, and especially if you're eating cherries, which there's some fructose, there's some sugar there, but if you're taking it in with fat and fiber and protein, it's going to minimize that glycemic load of the whole meal. So I don't think a cup or half a cup of cherries is going to harm you in any way. In fact, I think it's really good for you. So this is probably like a nice low calorie meal that's kind of suitable for that diet I was talking about. And then my other 2 meals I think are so similar. I've been eating, I know some people don't like veal. They think, oh, Mike, how can you eat veal, right? But I love veal. Every now and then I'll have it. And this is veal. And I still, I'm not one of those guys who eats fatty cuts of meat. I still don't. First of all, I don't like the taste of fatty meats. I mean, I love bacon, so I'll have that occasionally. But I mean, I don't buy fatty cuts because I'm not really doing a carnivore-ish type thing. So I love veal because it's so lean and tender. I make this on the stove. It takes me like 7 minutes to make it. It's that's like paper thin. Like, and then once again, my arugula, since I'm not doing not doing this the spinach, and you may not be able to see it, but I think there's even some cherries underneath there. I got some blueberries, avocado. Now this is I guess maybe I'm boring you if you guys are not new to me, but this is pretty much, I think, the same thing I did. I've been doing this almost. I gotta start doing some dinners. I think it's the same thing with chicken. And this is the one where I did the video on the chicken, on how I make this. Like, really, it did pretty good, the video. This, you can see the blueberries a little bit better. And this is that Bell & Evans, like thin sliced chicken, 9 ounces, like 60 grams of protein. My avocado, blueberries, and I don't even put dressing on these salads. I know some people ask me what dressing. If I do ever, I don't put dressing on it because when I make the chicken, I use a tablespoon and a half or so of olive oil, EVO, extra, and I use extra virgin olive oil. When I make the chicken, so I'm getting olive oil there. So when I throw the chicken on top of the salad, the olive oil drips down. Maybe I'll add a little bit of balsamic vinegar, because the balsamic vinegar is also high in that acetic acid, which is good for controlling blood sugar post-meal. I like taking apple cider vinegar. I haven't been doing my apple cider vinegar. I'm out. I've been out for a while. I got to buy it. I think that's a great thing to do. We're listening to another book, like Mark Sesson's book. This is his newest book that I always wanted to listen to. And I might have a book deal. I'm talking to this publisher, contacted me saying they want me to do a book, based on intermittent fasting, time restricted eating. And I have my second meeting with them this week. So I want to start listening and reading all these intermittent fasting, time restricted eating books. So Mark Sesson's last book was the 2 meal a day diet. But it's interesting. I'm about 3/4 through the book, and most of the book is really low carb eating, ancestral eating, primal eating, paleo eating as opposed to the 2MAD diet. So I may do a book along the lines of that, something like 2 meals a day or something like that. You know, my whole formula, 16-day 2MAD plus a protein bar, protein shake. So like I said, the only negative thing about this, I'm going to try to not do this because people do say that charring of meats is a little carcinogenic. So I may try to like slow cook all my meats a little bit more. Try not to char them anywhere. There's a little bit of charring on that, so I'm going to try to minimize that the best I can because I always put a top on it. And there we go. Okay, so I don't know. I hope you liked this presentation. I happen to like. Okay, this was the book I was talking about, Brian Tracy. When I come, these are one of these quotes, but I'm gonna do a video, a live stream on that too. Oh, you guys can't see this. I didn't pull it into the right spot. Let me pull it into the presentation. I pulled it into my screen, which you can't see. Let me see if I can get this to show up. Yeah, there we go. See Brian Tracy, incredible book. These are the books that like I want my kids to read. Like How to Win Friends and Influence People. This book is a great book, Brian Tracy, The Universal Laws of Success and Achievement Reference Guide. You know, if you want to set goals, you want to get somewhere, you just do whatever's in this book. The other one is, what's that incredible book that I absolutely love? It is How to Win Friends and Influence People. And who wrote that one? Because I have that. Let me Google that really quick. Let me see. I'm going to say it into the thing. How to Win Friends and Influence People. I have that in my Audible. I don't know if anyone does Audible, but I love Audible. You know, I get a new book every single month. And hoping I'm not losing everyone. It's an incredible book. How to Win Friends and Influence. Who wrote that? Right. Dale Carnegie. Yes, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Dale Carnegie. Incredible book. Like mind-blowing book. These are the books I want my kids to read. I read them when I was young. I keep on reading them. I think this one and How to Win Friends and Influence People, if you live your life by these two books, you know, you'll be a billionaire and you'll be really happy. You'll have a happy marriage, happy, partnership with whoever, your kids. Incredible books. And all simple, simple basic things. How to Win Friends and Influence People. It's just like treat people how you like to be treated. Talk about them, kill them with kindness type of thing. And this is, and the laws of universal success and achievement is just, set your goals, like basic things I was talking about. These are incredible books. I just love them both. All right, guys. Hey, Nicholas is here. How we doing? Like, hey, Mike, keep up the consistent, excellent content on this channel. I wish the best for you. Oh, thanks so much, Nicholas. I appreciate it. And Gwen, hey Gwen, how we doing? I wish you could cook for me. Oh yeah, I know. I do. I'm such a. I even said it. I even said it in some of the cooking videos that I'm not a chef. And a chef will look at my video and say, "What is this guy doing? He doesn't know what he's doing." But I don't cook. I mean, I don't claim to be a chef, but I know. I think you have to cook if you want to eat healthy. It's almost impossible to eat healthy. First of all, the oils, like you don't want the seed oils, right? Those heated up oils that are like half rancid. That's gonna kill you. They put sugar on everything. They oversalt everything. Cooking, eating out, unless you're going to a place like La Bernardin, like I'm talking about, which is just mind blowing. It's just like sweet, salty, and tasty. And greasy, salty, tasty. That's like the formula in most restaurants. Me and my wife went out yesterday. I really just can't do it. I wanted to get chili at this place in Midwestchester that I love. It's like an award-winning chili, but we wound up not going there. We went to just like a local pub and we had hamburgers. First I ordered a chicken kebab. I sent it right back. I looked at it. I took one taste. It was so insanely salted. I can tell the oils had that smell to it that it was probably oiled in corn oil and seed oil, and I just sent it back. I said, just give me a hamburger. I ate the hamburger without the bun. And then it came with a baked potato, so I ate the baked potato, and then I had like a salad, and it came with a nice salad with it. I have a really hard time eating out. I really do. Let's see. No, you don't want me anywhere near your kitchen. Oh, this is going. You don't want me anywhere near your kitchen. Oh, hey, thanks so much, Chris. Chris gave me another super chat. I really appreciate it. Thanks for sharing and doing the lives and the slides and information. Oh, thanks so much, Chris. I really appreciate it. I know you give me super chats every week. It really helps me keep doing this. Mike, I'm gonna do those big protein powder tubs. How many grams of protein should I get from a protein powder? I still like just like typical one scoop is about 25 grams of protein. I think that's great. I wouldn't be careful. Don't go too crazy with it. So I'm like the brand I like the best, or one of the best, is Garden of Life, because it has that dairy from Ireland, True Dairy, or Real Dairy, I think is the logo. I don't have it here, but it's the green logo that says Real Dairy. That's where they can feed the cows outside, grass-fed, pasture-raised, pretty much every day of the year. So I like that one. There were other good ones too, but I would just do one scoop, 120 calories, 100 calories, something like that, 25 grams of protein. I don't think you can go wrong with that. Okay, I'm 150 pounds. Oh, that's great. You really lost the weight and kept it off. I'm so happy for you. That's great. Oh yeah, I like Kava 2. I just tried it recently. Oh, that sounds good. Okay, great. Cool. All right, guys. Any questions before I go? I'll give you like a minute because I know there's a little bit of a delay. Otherwise, I'm gonna run. I'm gonna go get my walk. It's like finally the weather is like killer. Yesterday was the nicest day of the summer. It's been a crummy summer, I think. The humidity is crazy high. You know, not that good. But yesterday was the first beautiful day, I think, in New York. I'm talking like 83 degrees, but it didn't feel like the humidity went down. I know Chris even said in Texas the humidity was really low. The humidity was like nothing. I loved walking yesterday. I loved every minute of it. A couple days ago, I even did a story on Instagram saying how I didn't even feel, I mean, I never get like that. I didn't even feel like walking one day because it was so hot and humid. I did it anyway. You can even sense my tone in the video when I said it, when I made the video saying, oh, man, I don't feel like doing it, but I'm just going to do it because I'm disciplined. I felt good afterwards, but I didn't enjoy it. But today it looks beautiful out. Maybe a little bit more humidity, but it looks beautiful. How is broccoli on? No, broccoli's good. Yeah, broccoli's good, Jeff. Broccoli's definitely fine. I think broccoli raw too. I think they're good. I think spinach is the real bad, but in the green family, it's probably the worst. And celery is really, really high. Almonds. I'm trying to think what else. Maybe I was gonna do a live stream of that too on the oxalates, but it's somewhat debatable. Okay. Thanks, Mike. Have a nice weekend. All right, guys. I'm gonna roll. Have a great week. I'll see you guys next week. Any questions, let me know. And thanks for showing up today. I really appreciate it. And put those things into action. Really, I really think there's something to it. Take care, everyone.